Hello. Yeah, welcome to this seminar about Max MSP. How many of you guys have heard of Max MSP before? Okay, that's quite a lot. All right, it's integrated with Ableton Live, for example. And so, what is Max MSP? Max MSP is some kind of development environment for creating synthesizers, creating control structures, doing presentation systems and whatnot. You can do quite a lot with it. And I want to give you a quick introduction to Max MSP. There are a lot of tutorials on YouTube, so if you want to know how it works in detail, just look there. I want to progress quickly to what the more interesting, fancy things are that you can do with it. So, Max MSP, it's a multi-window application. We have a Max window, which shows some logging and stuff, and we have a project window. And the basic building block of a Max MSP project is a patcher. Max MSP is a node-based editing application, like a node-based environment development. So you create nodes and you connect them to do stuff. Like, let's say, I know all the shortcuts, just ignore it for the moment. Number 23 and number 42. I create them here. They align quite pretty. UI is quite nice, by the way. Now I create a plus operator. It adds two numbers. I connect this here and this here. And I add another message box. Connect it to the output of the plus. And I put in the operands, and what happens is it calculates. So this is like basic operation of control data. You draw wires. You basically draw wires. It's well, pretty intuitive, I think. How many of you have worked with demo tools of any kinds or node-based development environments before? Okay. Okay, so I don't have to talk too much about the very basics. In Max, there are two different kinds of data that you can transmit and process via nodes. One is control data, basically messages like those numbers, and then there's audio data, which is streamed in real time. Let me add a simple sinus oscillator here. And let me add easy DAC, which is an interface to our sound card. I give this object as a parameter a frequency, like 440 Hertz. I add a gain. So objects with this tilde here are audio objects. They process audio data. I route this through here, and I go straight into the sound card output. Sound is on, I hope. Okay, so when I move this up, we hear something. There's our audio data. And it looks different. It has those different wires. Okay, let's do this annoying stuff away. Okay, so this is basically how Max MSP works. You have lots of objects to play with. Those are the most trivial ones, like plus and minus and basic arithmetics, where you can do all kinds of math, and you can do algorithms as well. You have switching objects. You have gates and stuff like that. There's a whole lot of them. You can find them all in the Explorer here. We have like basic objects, audio objects, buttons, all kinds of things. So let's talk a little more about control data, which is Max data. Audio data is called MSP data. I primarily like Max because of the way it handles control data, because it's really simple to do visual editing of algorithms. Apart from audio, it's very mighty in every aspect, but okay. So what kinds of data are there? We have integer numbers, like those. We have floating point numbers, like those. We have strings. And we have something that's called a bang. Looks like this push button. I can connect it to a message box and hit it. Just says bang. Bangs are like impulses to trigger something. They're basically triggers. Okay, this is all implicit casting. How many coders are here, by the way? Okay, nice. That's perfect. So everything happens implicitly. Max figures out itself what kind of data it is. We have also lists. Lists look like this. So they are separated by white space. We can operate on lists nicely via the ZL element, and ZL is like a universal list processor. There are several functions for accessing separate elements in lists, like env. Oops. Let's put this away. So this means I want the second element, the third actually. We are counting from 0 if I take env from this list. I put another message box here as an output. Now I send the data from this list through there, and it doesn't work. Why does it not work? Because I'm too stupid to use Max, obviously. Okay, let's forget about this and go to the interesting use cases. You can learn all the basic stuff from tutorials online. It's just search for Max MSP tutorials on YouTube and you will find quite a lot. So, as I announced before, I wanted to show some interesting use cases. The most typical use cases might be to construct synthesizers. We have a lot of default objects for that, like ADSR envelopes. I have an ADSR envelope object here. I have a MIDI interface, node in. Let's just go through this patch and start up here. Node in gets MIDI input. I have a simple MIDI controller attached to my notebook. And if I press something, the MIDI data appears here. So what do we have here? This is velocity, this is node number, and this is the MIDI channel. It's MIDI channel 1. Okay, let's follow this path first. The node number. If I want to build a synthesizer, I have to make this node number into a frequency. There is this object for that, M to F, MIDI to frequency. And as we see here in this message box, what comes out of it is a frequency. I put this frequency into a simple saw oscillator, which defaults to 440 Hertz, but it's overridden by the input here. Out comes audio data, a sawtooth wave. Want to show you. So there we go. Just a simple saw oscillator, higher frequency, lower frequency, so you can directly see it. Okay, to make this a synthesizer, I need some kind of envelope. It's here. We have the velocity here. This is not velocity sensitive, this controller, so something above 0 means node is being triggered, and 0 means node stops. Select does nothing, but if the argument I gave it here, if it detects a 0 in its input, it sends a bang, so a trigger out of the left outlet, and a bang out of the other outlet if it is different than 0. So I can do different stuff based on if there's something unlike 0 and something that equals 0. The ADSR envelope takes as its input the usual parameters: attack time, decay time, sustain, release time, and it expects in its first inlet a trigger. 1 means start doing your envelope stuff, and 0 means, okay, stop now, go to release. We can see the envelope here. So if I press a note, it goes up for 10 milliseconds. Can make this higher, so we see going it up. So there's our envelope. And what I now do is I just multiply the audio of the sawtooth oscillator with the output of this envelope, which is between 0 and 1. And if I make this gain a little higher. We should hear something. So there's a very basic synthesizer. It's that easy. Okay. Max is able to do polyphonic synthesizers as well. There is an object for that. You can encapsulate all your stuff in a way that you have a voice allocation which dynamically sends note data to different instances of the same patch. This is an interesting feature of Max, by the way. You can always encapsulate stuff. So if this is starting to get messy, let's say all this ADSR stuff, we can simply say encapsulate, and we create some kind of sub-patch. Let me figure out where it is. Encapsulate, Control-Shift-E. So I use the shortcut, of course, because I'm cool. So now we have hidden all this stuff. It's in there. I can name it. And if I double-click that, there we are. Max automatically created 2 inlets for me and 1 outlet. Those 2 inlets I find here. So are the 2. I can annotate them, by the way. And out comes signal. So it's pretty easy to manage quite complex projects if you make heavy use of encapsulation. The whole thing is very fast. So I did some bigger projects with Max MSP with like literally thousands of objects that work on all kinds of data and in a very quick way. And it was like CPU like 0.5%. The tool has been around for quite a while, and it's pretty optimized. So okay. So far, so simple. Any questions so far? Nice. Okay, so but that's still not cool enough. So I think where Max becomes really interesting is its extendability. You can create Max objects yourself in native code, just using C++ or Java is possible as well. You can quickly do JavaScript implementations as well via the JS object. So if you want to do something with JavaScript, you create a JS object, and there you have a text editor. Okay, let's try that on the fly. This is the help system of Max. You just select a module, an object, and there is your help. And the nice thing about the help is that the help system consists entirely of ready to copy-paste Max MSP patches. So if you want to know how to use something particular, you just open the help system, and there you have ready to go patch. So I copy-paste the JavaScript code from the example, paste it here. What do we have here? We have a bang function with some evaluation of arguments. Those are handlers for inputs we give our JavaScript object. We have 1 inlet here. There it is, inlet 0. Let's put something in there, like 1, 2, 3. I'll connect it here. I want to see the output. Connect it here. So does it do something? No, but we get some nice error messages because I haven't saved that yet. Maybe it works now. Yes, there it is. My value is 1, 2, 3. Copy paste it from the example, and this is what happens. So, my value is function bang. All right. So okay, this is not much code. It's just like you need it, just copy paste it, and you can instantly work with it. So why not do that? It's especially interesting to use JavaScript for stuff that is algorithmic in nature, because you really don't want to do complex logic all with your nodes if you can just do some switch statements and loops and everything in JavaScript. So I'm talking productivity whore here, so you might know what I mean. Okay, let's move away from there and take a look at this. Okay, what I wanted to do is do native code for writing externals. Externals are just another name for we have a Max object. And, well, that consists of native code. They're called externals in Max. Those are basically C DLLs. I have it here, so let's see what it does. What I wanted to do was establish communication between Max and some external tool I have. So I wrote a simple OpenGL initializing application. Took me an hour or something, just pasted some init code in there, and I wanted to receive data from Max. One of the most easy ways to transmit some control data is using network, using UDP. For instance, I used UDP here. Just initialize WinSock and open a connection, and there you have your data interface. Okay, let's take a look at this external first. I have 4 inlets here, which I can fill with data, and well, something comes out. Let's take a look at this external. It's not much. It's 143 lines of code, and let's just quickly walk through there. There's a Max SDK. You can just download that, and it comes with ready-to-go examples which compile in Visual Studio. I have here 2 includes. That's basically the Max SDK, a simple UDP class, 100 lines or something. We don't have to look there now. Okay, now it's becoming interesting. I have to set up a data structure for defining the external, especially what data it carries, because each external can be instantiated multiple times. So we have to create something like a class which can be instantiated at runtime by Max. What have we in there? Some object header. It's well, default by Max SDK. You have to have this here. Then I have 4 floats, 4 values I want to store, and I have 1 outlet. Outlets. The outlet is this thing here. So if I want to output something, I have to create these outlets. And I have my network class. Because I want to have multiple instances of this UDP sender external, its own instance of the network communication class. So this is our data structure. Then we have some prototypes for functions. I want to have my external react to bang messages, those simple triggers I talked about. I wanted to react to the 4 floats. So those are basically callbacks. See them as callbacks. I have an assist function as well. The assist function outputs helpful strings. If I go with the mouse over here, I can define a string that is to be shown when I do this mouse over thing. All right, I have a new function for creating a new instance, and I have a free function for removing an instance of my object. So main function, I do some basic setup. I tell the Max API how to create this class. What's the new function? What's the free function? What is its size? So this is just simple C code. I add some methods. Those are the ones I defined above in the prototypes. Those magic synonyms here, you can look them up in the Max SDK. Or just copy-paste it from examples, as I told you. We register the class, and then post, very helpful for debugging, sends some string to the Max output window. Let's take a look at that. Whoops, lots of data, interesting. Let's clear this and load this again. It's active, that's the problem. Let me disable audio for a moment. Where is it? Here. Actually, don't save. Clear. That we see this output. Okay. No, I'm flooding everything with my debug data, so we won't see it. I would say in the first row, simple communicator object loaded. Okay, then I know I'm ready to go. Then we have the new function, which actually creates the instance of our object. We have some API calls, object alloc, with the data structure I defined above, so Max knows how much memory to allocate. Then I define the inlets I'm using. I have to do this in reverse order, obviously, so, but okay, I didn't really figure out why. I create my outlet. I do some initializing. I tell, OK, everything worked. Then I create an instance of my UDP communication class. It's hard-coded, as you see. I'm just talking to localhost here on port 1337. And tell the debug window that everything worked fine. Cleanup, just as simple. I basically remove, I shut down WinSock. That's everything that happens here. OK, there's the assist function, which, as I told you, outputs helpful strings if I and then, this is where it gets interesting, come my actual data handlers. If I receive a bang, I some stuff out via the network interface. Some casting magic happening here. It's really as simple as I could do it. I just sent a UDP packet containing the 4 floats to localhost, so that I can have my SDL application receive that stuff and do whatever I want with it. The value handlers just store my values in the object instance. If I bang the object, it sends out the values. So let's take a look here how this works. I remove this wire for a while. OK, now everything should work when I reload it too. Reload it again. There's our max window. OK, there it says bind to port 8000, new object instance there, UDP sender created, so everything is fine. If I put values in there, like, liking a mouse pad, it just stores them in this instance, and when I bang it via this, it tells me via debug output what values have been sent. So, OK, that's basically about it. Because I wanted to keep sending values all the time, I have this metro object which just sends a bang each 10 milliseconds, connected to here, and now it's sending all the time. Okay, so what can we do with that? To make this interesting, I wrote a little SDL application doing some OpenGL initializing and just drawing a cube. Let me show you that. Where is it? There it is. OK. Wow, pretty interesting. And what I want to do now is to control this cube via my cell phone, because there's a nifty little small app called Touch OSC, which isn't that expensive, and it can send the orientation data from the cell phone via OSC. OSC is a protocol for transmitting, well, it's like MIDI, but cool. OK, so I want to fetch the. I have to set it up on my cell phone. It just sends orientation data. The UDP receive object in Max is just a simple OSC receiver. OSC. Well, I'll show you how OSC messages will look like as soon as I have my cell phone doing this stuff. Am I already connected? No, I'm not. Are you still following me, by the way? Cool. So I'm starting Touch OSC. OK, I'm connected to revision. This is not what I want. I have to create. So I'm now enabling the portable hotspot function of Android to establish a direct connection to the notebook. There we go. Says it will turn off Wi-Fi. It's stupid. And now I have to connect to the right network. Hello. Ah, there it is. OK. Starting Touch OSC. Waiting. Still waiting. Nothing happening here. Where is that? Ah, there we are. OK. I have to tell Touch OSC the IP address of the notebook in order to establish communication. And it's this one, obviously. Weird. Let's try it. So I'm just entering it here now. 10, 1, 29, 170. Okay, that's fine. Let's see if it works.
Can I ask you a question meanwhile?
Yes, of course.
I never heard of Max before.
Okay.
What kind of license is it? Is it commercial? Is it free?
Is it commercial software, yeah.
And
there's a 30-day trial. It's like in the $500 range or something.
$500?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So it's a commercial too, granted. But you, as a side note, you can learn a lot from Max MSP regarding UI design for demo tools. The interface is really nice. You can like zoom in. Hello, what did I do there? Nothing good, obviously. Yeah, you can zoom in. Everything stays readable. And now I don't know how to zoom out. Show it 100%. And the cabling is managed in a nice, usable way. If I draw a wire like this, and I want it to look cooler, I press this magic shortcut, and I have them aligned in this way. So it's really well made. And more tools should be usable like this. Okay, back to TouchOS. Looks kind of broken. I think I have to restart it. So what I want to do is I want to control the orientation of the cube via the orientation of my cell phone using Max MSP as a data processor in between. But I think Android sucks at the moment. So I have to kill it and start it anew. Let's just try this again. Okay, this is still correct. Simple is correct. Yeah, well, for effect. This is bad. No, the notebook is. This is not good. Yeah. Well, is the party network firewalled in some weird way? Yeah. Yeah, but it tells me that it's connected to the mobile hotspot feature of my Android here. So, well, I can try to use the party network and connect the cell phone to the party network as well. Let's see if it works. Huh? Okay, yeah, then it should work. So I disable a hotspot here and just connect to the party network. And let's see if it works then. Revision connected. That's fine. Let's check out my IP settings. Ah, something's happening. Okay, it just fixed itself. So let's make it so we can see both things. I have my cell phone here and the orientation data, which is received from TouchOS here. It arrives in messages like this. OSC data is, unlike MIDI data, it's plain text, it's human readable. It starts with a path to a parameter and followed by the actual numbers. And those are 3 floating point numbers for the orientation. So what I'm doing in Max, I filter out the parameters that I want with this select object. Select just makes, Max looks at this message. If it says this at the beginning, then it outputs the result at its first outlet. So I can filter out different messages. The UI is obviously broken, so I can't show you. I have some second control here for XY pad. So usually I should be able to move my finger around a pad and move the cube around on the screen, one hand. But I actually think that this orientation feature could be interesting for doing camera work or something in demos, because this is basically motion capturing. And it's quite fast and quite efficient. Okay, what else are we doing here? Let's follow this path for a moment. I filter out my accelerometer message, it arrives here. Then I take the first value and the second value. We're starting from 0, counting from 0 here, which is this and this. Then I multiply them by 10 to get them in a reasonable value range to make it look cool. And then I have a simple interpolation here to make it less dodgy. I can make the temporal resolution slower. So I'm now processing values in 100 millisecond intervals, and we see that now the network sender only sends each 100 milliseconds. So now it's kind of slow. Let's make this faster again. And this interpolation thing here just makes it a little less dodgy. To start this again. So I can make it even more slow, I guess. So now it's really smoothed out. So and this is stuff that normally, if you do that all in your own tool, you most likely had to recompile the whole thing, change some values somewhere, or reload initialization file or something. And with this kind of development, you have a very efficient way for prototyping stuff or finding nice value ranges and everything. It might come in handy for development. I use Max MSP for lots of very specific tasks that would have that usually would have required writing your own software, and it fills a gap. The whole setup, as you see it here, with the cube and everything and this patch, I prepared it like within 2 hours, and including coding the external, leeching the SDK. So it's really simple, and it's fast. It's a very fast way, efficient way of developing. So now I'm through with what I wanted to show you as a teaser. I wanted to understand it as a teaser, to play around with it. There's so much you can do with it. You can even do, Max has, it's called Jitter, if I remember correctly. It's Java, so it might be slow, but you can do render loops and OpenGL stuff in there. I personally want to have my OpenGL stuff in my own app, so okay. What else can you do? There is this Max feature, it's called Gen, like Gen, which basically allows you to create some processors and DSP stuff within Max and then generate C code from there, which might be interesting for synthesizer developers to quickly get somewhere and then optimize the code further or something. I never tried that, but I know it exists, so might be worth a look. Questions? Yes?
Is it possible to compile those Max patches, or does it need a runtime environment? How?
There is a runtime environment, yes.
Oh, okay.
The runtime environment is free. If you have such a project like this, I can say this is my startup project. It's a property of this patch. And there is a make demo button. So what comes out is like some kind of executable. You have to have the runtime installed. It's free. And then you can easily take it to some other computer which doesn't have Max installed and run the stuff there.
Okay, thank you.
And of course, you can use gen to generate native code, as far as I know, but this might be a little more complicated. More questions? Yeah?
What exactly does the smoothing function do you show? So can you,
okay, let's check it out.
So
what it does.
can you like take the last 10 frames or the last 10 signals and
let's
average
ask
over
the
them?
online help.
Yeah, let's do that.
It filters an input value logarithmically between changes.
Ah, okay, so it's just one to the other.
Yeah, it's just one to the other, and the two arguments are, I think they are, they define the time it takes to move up and down.
Ah, okay.
So we can.
So, but it would be possible to like look back the last 10 input signals that came.
Yeah, it would be possible. There are like this funnel. Yeah, no, list funnel. You can use list funnel to collect multiple pieces of data and process them in some other way afterwards.
Yeah, that's very fun.
So you can do FIR filters.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
More questions?
Then how about pure data? It does pretty much similar
yeah,
stuff.
I tried pure data. Pure data is, as far as I know, it's some kind of open source Max MSP clone. Am I right?
It's by the same dude.
It's by the same dude, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's ugly. No, really. I think working with tools like this is it's all about usability, and it starts with this line drawing thing. Pure data is I'm pretty sure it's capable of almost anything. I played around a little with it, but let's talk about documentation. The documentation here is just awesome. You have working examples for practically everything that you can copy paste. And with pure data, it's more like you have to figure out how stuff works, and yeah, so it's a matter of personal taste, I think. But pure data might be worth a look, and if you're looking for a tool like this as well, of course, yeah.
About your nodes, so you can put pretty much anything with it, within it. Is it possible to make a node that would work on a node layout? Say for example, you have now some nodes.
Yes,
and
it
have something
actually is. It is. You can do self-referential stuff. You can make. You can create objects also with JavaScript that create other nodes within a patcher and connect them and everything.
And the other way around, like if you have some nodes, can you make a node that reads what you made?
Yes, you can do that. You can totally do that. What I want to show you is how the patches look from the inside. They look like this. So you can basically write some text generation tool that modifies this stuff. It's all human readable and easily accessible, unlike most other closed software products I found in the music sector and audio sector. So everything is transparent, and self-referential stuff like a node creating other nodes and doing stuff like that. It's totally possible and can lead to interesting results. Yeah, that's our project file. Yeah, so a very open-minded philosophy behind this thing. More questions? I saw a tutorial once with a guy who created a circular step sequencer where you could give some parameters for how much steps do you want, and he created input elements in a circular order on the fly within a patch. It's kind of cool. Another interesting thing I want to show you is you have two ways of viewing those patches. This is like the naked, evil, dark internals are obvious way, but you can create presentation views, which are more for using the stuff. So I can say in the inspector, which is like a property window, I want to include those in my presentation view. Then I switch to presentation mode, and all the ugly stuff is gone and the good stuff stays. Yeah, nice UI feature as well. that they move, it's awesome. They can have different fonts and sizes and appearances here. It's very well done. Okay, more questions? You're out of questions. All right. Well then, thank you for attending. Ah, there's another question.
So you talked at the very first example, the synthesizer you made, and how would that synthesizer look like? Where is it like a VST plugin in the end?
Sadly, there is no VST interface. There's Max for Live. In Ableton Live, they have integrated Max in a way that you can do it use it for plugins. But you can't export VST plugins. At least I didn't figure out how.
So most DAWs have some kind of a plugin which lets you load Max patches in a way.
I don't know any, no.
Okay. Thank you.
Sadly, it would be awesome. maybe someone could write a rewire interface. More questions? Okay, then thank you for attending this seminar. I hope I could get you interested in playing around with that thing. Might come in handy for your next demo project or whatever else. So, thank you.